stuff, and just like describing the scene that, with the assistance of those demonic undead that came out of nowhere, the situation has been settled with one final powerful shot from Ellie's Mitryubo. Said that wrong, but of her bow, shooting bolts of light faster than the eye can track. And suddenly, the tense atmosphere dissipates, almost as though the people are used to it at this point. As instead of panicking or asking what was going on, everyone that isn't part of the party just begins to, well, clean up. They pick chairs back up, clear any dust and debris away, and then they, well, check upon one another, check on any injuries that they had, but not before thanking the party, as their efforts are commended. Due to their presence here and their strength, a lot less people than usual were, well, injured. And not a single person has died. As Elaine returns, the main ones that can see her being Adavia and Ellie. And she looks tired, like haggard. But on her face, that's not what the primary expression is. Rather, she looks concerned, worried, and confused, as if to say, what just happened? Because from her perspective, she was off fighting in other places where there weren't as many strong fighters, only for these skeletons to come out of nowhere and help resolve the situation. And she's hoping against hope that she's wrong, but she's assuming that this new element to this has to do with one of you. Also, what was what?
I'm missing something. Never mind. Are we still in Virgil?
Yes.
At the moment you are.
Here?
Okay, I was just a little confused. Apologies.
Wait, hold on. You tell me what you think is going on, because just so I can clear up anything that may be going on.
No, thank you. It was just me getting confused for no reason.
Alright. Well, Elaine seems as though she's about to call out to specifically the members of the party. Or, well, that's what her intention is. But then she remembers something, and there's a hint of suspicion in her eye. As instead of staying where she is, she walks over to Adavia, and, well, essentially pats her on the back and says, "Hey, am I happy to see you?" Whatever that was that helped out here saved a lot of lives, but plenty of people are still injured. Do you think you could... And she, like, mid-sentence, with Sylvian outside your body, kind of turns to face you and gives you the eyes like, play along. Do you think you could help with the relief effort? As I've said before, even at my best, I don't think my healing magic compares to yours, and at the moment, she like opens her hand, and like a little wisp of like weak magic puffs out like, and as you can see at the moment, I'm not exactly at my best. So if I could trouble you, I'll make sure to pay you for your services.
Did you say that Sylvian was giving her a look and she had to play along or something?
No. So at the moment, because of how widespread the fighting was, I made an in-story decision to have Adavia and Sylvian split so they could cover more ground with the enemies. So Elaine essentially stood between you two and turned to face Adavia, where Sylvian couldn't see, and was the one that gave Adavia a look, a face that said "play along." But granted, she is also legitimately asking if you could help her with the healing effort.
All right. Well, I guess, Adavia not only has to play along with her, but to make sure she doesn't earn her god's ire, because last time Elaine was a bit of a problem. So I think she's gonna pretend to be a bit snobby and condescending. She's going to pretend like she's insulted to be asked by Elaine. Just be like, sure, I suppose I could offer these people a bit of aid, even though the request is coming from the likes of you. Just so that she can cover her own tail while accepting the request for help.
And to play along with your playing along, Elaine pulls out this small, well, not exactly small bag of gold and said, "Of course, I would never pretend to waste your or Sylvian's precious time. Your efforts will not go unrewarded." As she pulls out a bag that very clearly jingles with coin.
Yeah, that's one I like.
I'll be sure to give a fine contribution to the church. And who knows? Maybe others in here will appreciate the healing more than you can imagine. Maybe you'll come out with a new member or two.
Right.
Still acting out of caution, although that is a very generous offer, and normally she would graciously take that accommodation, she still has to give you, Elaine, some performative venom here, and she'll have to be like, dismiss the donation, just be like, she'll scoff very dismissively and shake her head and be like, your wretched money serves no value towards me or my congregation.
I don't think so. I just make
So
I do not mean-
basically just
Mhm.
and she'll continue on like, let's just get this over with.
literally a week.
So Elaine just sleights of hand, smiling at you. It's a tired smile, but it's happy. As she sleights of hand and the bag of presumably gold disappears and says, "I mean no insult then. If you would, follow me." As she then leads you off, and in story, you and her, also, let's just say Sylvian rejoins. In story, you guys would go to a different section of Firejolt. Essentially where all the injured are. And so you can stay there for now just for the scene. And as soon as you two walk through that door, another Elaine comes walking out of this door. As what it was sent off was something akin to a simulacrum, meant to keep Adavia, and more specifically, Sylvian, busy. As now, with you out of earshot, she calls out to the rest of the party. Which would be, well, Ellie, everyone that isn't Adavia, including those that aren't here. Now, who actually cares to listen, it would be a different story. Like, would Cinder show up upon being called?
Yeah,
Spiral?
I'd be curious.
Alright, so Cinder just walks off, and before she does, so these two dragons, the purple one and the gold one, were fighting alongside her. Does she do anything to them? Because I was going to say something, but better for you to say what she does.
Wait, who are they fighting alongside? What
You.
fight? Who was I
When-
fighting?
The demons! The demons that were invading this place, and you, came running over to the dragons to help them fight off.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So, now that the fighting is over, Cinder's like holding on by a thread, but she's still probably likely happy to see these cute little dragons. Well, you would call them cute little dragons, even though they're about as big, if not bigger than her.
Can I headbutt
So
them?
does, not sure how they take that, but
A sign of affection. Like, you know what cats do?
okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to roll animal handling then. So
Better
I'm
roll
going
it good.
to. It's
That'd
your
be a
luck,
good
not
one.
mine. So I'm going to use your character sheet and roll animal handling. Decent enough.
Yeah,
So, it's weirded out. It seems happy at your approach, but it's still like in fight mode. It's still in fight or flight. And well, just a second ago, there was not hellfire, abyssal flames and denizens all over this place. So it's a little wary of your approach as you walk up to it and you caress the purple dragon's head before slamming yours into it. However, it seemed to have understood your intentions at the last moment. And while it didn't join you in it, it didn't exactly pull away, allowing you the trust of doing what you want to do. Obviously, you don't hit it with all you got, because right now you're not even as strong as you can be, considering the fact you're like at 5% HP. But like, it's still there. Though with your injuries, you might leave a little bit of blood on its scales, not from injuring yourself, just from what you're already oozing. Though it doesn't seem to mind as it nuzzles back a bit as you leave off that one. And I'm assuming do the same to the smaller golden one.
Heck yeah.
I was like, that one, having seen what you did to its friend, again, is not exactly guarded against you, but does, like, let you do what you're going to do. Just doesn't exactly do anything that would seem to be encouraging your action. Alright. So you walk
too
over
damn
to
bad.
it. I'm just going to say the party goes to where they're supposed to be, and all but Aurelia just actually show up when they're supposed to. Kat, what does Ellie do upon being called?
She's actually just gonna be out of it for a minute there. Actually, no. I said she was gonna be gathering remains of the demons and fiends and stuff. So she's gonna be doing that.
So, as you're walking around gathering, you see that there's not exactly much. As when demons die, well, both demons and devils, their bodies usually aren't exactly left around. Rather, they return to the abyss. And if it's a demonized creature, its body kind of collapses. So, at most, what you find are shards of demonized pumpkin splattered all over the place. Maybe one of the metal maces left behind, the kanbos from the demonized samurai, and a couple of red armor shards that seemingly are leaking like this greenish fluid that was their, well, the closest equivalent to blood. So
she still
that's
has, like,
more or
some of
less
the empty
what you
vials,
find.
right? Can she gather some of that blood?
Sure. Take one from the bag of holding, and you essentially gather as many pieces of it, of these like demonic armor shards, and not exactly squeeze them, but rather just like let it drip down, and you have 1 vial's worth of demon blood, essentially, demonized blood. And upon doing that last one, you feel a hand on your shoulder. And you turn around to see Elaine. And you're like, oh cool, it's Elaine. But her expression looking at you is... oh boy. She's looking horrified. A mix of, should I attack and is this who I think it is? As she turns to you and shakily says, Ellie? Is that you?
No, I'm some mummy now. in character.
Do you actually say that? You don't know that.
Exactly, which is why she's making a stupid joke.
Elaine is off put by her for a second, not knowing whether or not you seriously know what you're saying, but is calmed because only Ellie could actually say something that stupid in this moment. Ellie, do you know what you look like right now?
Probably covered in blood or something. What, do I need to go take a bath? Do you have a bird bath?
No. I don't know how to explain it. Look, let me make sure I'm not crazy. She turns to you, grabbing Ellie by the shoulders and like shifting her over so that the other two can see. Well, the party, but specifically only you two are here to answer. As she asks Cinder and Adavia. Or well, not Cinder and Adavia. Adavia's not here right now. She asks Cinder and the rest of the party. What does Ellie look like to you right now?
Do we have to roll for perception? Like, what?
No, it's just
what's
like
going on?
it's like what? How would your party like? You can literally describe what you're seeing. Like, just tell Elaine what you see. As like various answers from the party go from normal. Trevor says she looks a little dirty, but I guess she looks like she always does. Nullis stays quiet. Peria just shrugs. Who am I forgetting? Nylari doesn't comment because she doesn't know what Ellie looks like well enough from memory to say if she looks any different. So all that's really left to answer is Cinder and Aurelia. Disregarding Aurelia's answer, Cinder, you actually, speaking of making a perception, would you like to make one?
Yes.
Alright.
Don't fail me.
Well, you have a high enough perception. Okay. So, you think it's a strange question, because, like, you pay closer attention to Ellie as you ask her to, like, to come a little closer. And, well, she does. And you look at her. Like, really look at her. Ooh. Okay. And you feel something's off. And you don't know what it is just yet. As you go around her. Yeah, best you can tell, her wings are a little torn. She's missing a couple of feathers. There's a crack on her right horn. She's bleeding from her nose and one of her eyes. Her clothes are a little tattered, but like that's to be expected after everything you've gone through. And then it hits you. Were her wings always that dark? You could have sworn they were brighter red. But you're not sure. Probably better to ask the person herself. So what do you
Were your
do?
wings always that dark? Or am I misremembering?
Dark. Ellie's probably gonna like turn around and like shake her wings, thinking it's just dust. And then she's gonna be like, did I miss something?
Could just be my eyes.
Speaking of your eyes, Elaine says, no, that is part of what I see, but it's not the biggest thing. And then
What,
she
she
turns
see
to
one?
Cinder. No. And she turns to Cinder and asks, Cinder, I understand the gist of your powers as a dragon shifter. How closely are your senses to that of a dragon? Can you, for lack of a better term, see deeper as they can?
If I can, I haven't quite mastered that yet. Can try.
Please.
So would I have to roll something for it, or?
No, look at what I'm literally.
Oh, I wasn't looking. Whoopsies. So can I use that then?
Yes. So, how do you think that would manifest? Like, if you were to do this, how do you think it would look? Like, what would she do? How would she activate it?
I guess
would it
kind
be
of put her
painful for
claws
her?
on her head. I'm assuming maybe kind of feel like a bit of a headache, and then shake her head a little bit with her hands on her head, just trying to focus and get into that kind of mindset to activate.
And as you all look at it, something interesting seems to happen with Cinder. Because usually, whenever she uses any sort of draconic power, her body shapes and manipulates itself to, well, fit what she's doing. But this time, it's something inside her eyes. Not something physical, but rather deeper, more on a spiritual level that's changing. Though, as she herself said, she doesn't have much practice with the power. It feels unnatural to her. But nonetheless, her eyes gain this like electric crackling aspect to them, as energy seems to seep out of it. She seems to be in a bit of pain as something akin to a migraine is popping up in her head. But nonetheless, she looks at Ellie, and now she sees what Elaine is talking about. As upon looking at Ellie, this is what she sees. She sees all the clothes and Ellie's wings exactly as they are, but it's Ellie herself, her person, that is different. As other than the noticeable darkness of her wings, the most visible change, now that she's seeing at a deeper layer of who Ellie is that standing before her is this small, humanoid, undead creature of the same general stature and shape of Ellie. Half of their flesh no longer upon their skeleton, rotting and melting off. The horns of her skull enlarged and malformed, escaping and stretching from the old flesh that remains. And every time she blinks, a different expression is upon the face. The skeleton's maw seemingly twisting into a myriad of emotion, cycling between this contagious expression of fear, a burning, nearly exploding hatred and anger, and an unsettling calm, blank expression. And yet the sickest, most out of place one, seemingly on what would be Ellie's face, is this malicious sneer, as though she wished to harm Cinder. And that kind of breaks her concentration on that. As once it does, the crackling around her stops, her vision returns to normal, and once again, she sees Ellie, as she should be.
So I guess after that I would be in a bit of shock and then look at her seriously and it's like, what are you?
What are you talking about?
So,
I'm me.
Ellie, right now, you are expressly not you. Do you have any idea what you look like? What you really look like at this
No.
moment?
I feel like myself. I'm pretty sure I look like myself, except somehow darker, winged.
Cinder, just to make sure that I am not going crazy and infecting it to you, can you tell me what you saw?
Hard to describe. Kinda like a zombie and your face kept on changing menacingly. Like intent to kill.
I mean, murder is always a good option, but right now there's nothing to murder.
Ellie, no, this is serious. As she not exactly crouches down, but like looks at you at eye level. do you have to do with those demonic undead that popped up here? Because they acted strangely. Rather than adding on to our trouble, they helped protect this place. And while I should be grateful for that help, it's unsettling for so many reasons. And I need to know what's going on.
Well, I don't know if it's connected to what happened, but I saw some weird boar thing.
And with that, she freezes and is like, hold on. We can talk about this in here. As she waves her hand, and like, upon your perception, like, as she waves the hand, behind where it had moved, a doorway appeared. I think it's time we talk about everything that's been going on. And about that stuff with the deals you were all offered. As she's the first to step through, essentially moving everyone. As this is very obviously something that she does not believe can be spoken about in the open. So, I'm asking this specifically to Uli because his character is the only one who I don't believe would like immediately follow along. Does Aurelia come along too, or do they like, this isn't worth my time, I'm gonna go sleep?
Can Ollie drag him?
Both in and out of character. What are we talking about?
Essentially, Elaine has true sight, and things have calmed down. She's gathered the party after distracting Adavia with a simulacrum because there's something she wants to talk about, but can't have Adavia here for it because it's Sylvian. But upon seeing Ellie has like this, like, well, she looks like an undead essentially to anything with true sight. But like, if you don't have true sight, she looks like she always does. Her wings are just a little darker. So that last 10, 15 minutes was Elaine confirming with Cinder, who also has a access to true sight, that she's not insane. Something about Ellie is up, and Elaine has drawn the connection. Ellie's looking like an undead, and several very powerful demonic undead came to the aid of Firejolt. But nothing good comes from demons, so there has to be something up. The moment Ellie mentioned something about a boar-looking creature, Elaine said, yep, we cannot talk about this here. Time to go. And like, again, she's being cryptic. She's not saying everything that she can. And you're not sure if it's because she's hiding something, despite the fact that she just said, we're going to talk about everything, or because she legitimately can't, and it's like on the same level as the Sylvian thing. So I'm sure Ellie would, out of curiosity, being like, what the hell are you talking about, would follow through. Cinder, like, seeing what Elaine saw, would probably walk through, and so would the rest of the party. I'm just asking if Aurelia would, because, like, you know, he does not indulge Elaine in the slightest.
Mr. Low Drama, I'm gonna grab Ellie by the shoulder and be like, do you remember the last time we followed her into a dark place?
To be fair, you were teleported, not given the choice to join.
Right. Same thing.
Is she trying to kill us?
Well, are you gonna back me up
mean,
this time
you
like
can-
I backed you up? Dang.
I'm not saying I'm not going to back you up. But why get in this situation in the first place? You can tell Cinder here about what happened.
Oh no. What did you do?
Rather, what do you do?
Well, I mean, if it's the same thing as last time, fights are fun.
Fights are fun, but you're a little. Aurelian's gonna like raise their hand to like their face and be like, covered in holes, to put it lightly.
Well,
Wait, okay,
you
are
get
you
healed
are
up?
you talking about Okay, are you talking about injuries or that you can see what she is?
No, the fact that she got 52 health.
Okay. I was just wondering.
I mean, she healed us up last time. Pretty sure she'll do it again. I think.
She did not heal us up.
False. You were healed to full. You were just having health subtracted because she
Fuck
wanted
up,
you to
this
lose.
is in character.
But I'm really curious.
Well, you can make a choice.
Too
You-
much.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna follow behind Ellie, but I'm just gonna be like, don't believe everything she says. I'm just be like there to spread hate.
Okay. So essentially, everyone but Adavia goes through, but don't worry, Adavia, you're going to be here with us. In spirit, at least. The player's going to know everything's going on. Adavia's off being distracted as a proxy of distracting Sylvia. So I'm teleporting everyone.
Okay.
Oof. I would almost say it's ironic and purposeful that Aurelia's off in the void. That's just because it's a bad teleportation spot.
I know it.
Alright. I don't know where Ellie is. Okay. There we go. So basically, as you all look around, the only one who recognizes this place is Aurelia, because they were brought here when they had their first confrontation, quote unquote, with Elaine, as well as the fact that they're the ones that filled it with the exorcism rituals. Everyone else, for the first time, is, oh, this place is creepy. Imagine the rest of the party is here, but upon looking around, there are two people very obviously missing. Adavia, because Elaine distracted her, and suspiciously, Nolus. But Elaine doesn't seem to put any mind to that.
Wait a minute. Where's Spyro's character?
Spyro is not here right now. Like, literally not in OMM because her computer can't run it at the moment. So she's
right.
watching through me. So pretend that she's here.
Right,
Hold on, let me
right.
spawn a dragon. Let me spawn a freaking stand-in. Spyro, any of these you like?
Blue one, top left.
This one?
Uh-huh.
Alright. This will be Cinder stand-in.
While this happens, Aurelia's gonna whisper to Ellie's like, I can tell you everything about this place. I've been here.
Why would she'd let it go. She's about to drop the beans anyway, so feel free. I'll just correct any misinformation you might speak. SES, follow me. We can talk here, but seeing around there being like 8 people counting herself, it is a bit crowded. As like she walks forward.
I don't know
That
why
depends
you
on-
dragging that dragon. This is fucking hilarious.
Shut up. Alright. But like she walks off and the party follows. But if you two decide to stay behind and talk, you guys can do that. As I'll just be moving this one over here. And like, well, we're gonna be having it as though they're all talking.
Sorry.
And Elaine's telling them. So it's up to y'all whether you decide to follow or stay over there. For now.
Ellie's probably gonna like follow, right? She'd be like all slow because she's looking at everything.
As Elaine picks up on Ellie looking around, says, creepy, I know. But it works for our purposes. A real strange customer asked me to help him make a place like this a while ago. And, well, I can't say it was easy, but it was worth it, especially with thinking back the use I've gotten out of it recently. With here, we'll be able to talk freely. No outside influences, no overseeing eyes. Just us and the truth. All of it. Though, with what's been happening in Firejolt, not sure what good that'll do us here, or how much good that'll do us now. As this time she turned her focus in specific to Ellie and Aurelia. Not only because y'all are the only ones here, rather, y'all are the only ones who this message specifically applies to. Trevor as well, but not to the same degree, as she says a name. Pale Night. And she lets it hang in the air as though she's waiting for something to happen, so you two can respond in that time.
Who are we waiting for?
Hail night, as in there's hail in the night?
No. Pale. As in cat after not going outside for 3 months. Because you refuse to touch grass.
Do you have to say it 3 times to summon him?
No.
Pale
Also,
night.
it's a her.
Pale night, pale night, pale night. Go on, bitch.
As she said, this is her talking to you two specifically, but also Trevor. That thing you encountered, I'm assuming, massive woman with a shroud over her body. That is the thing that you encountered, correct?
If it was like the bones underneath the weird bed sheet, yeah.
She had left that detail out on purpose to see if you would add it, and that just confirms her worst suspicions. I know I've not given you a reason to understand the level of danger that you are in, and not subconsciously, unwittingly brought to Firejolt's doorstep. But that thing that you saw is an incomprehensible being of undeterminable might. It is how do I explain this? How exactly do I explain this? Anyone want to say anything while I'm figuring out what to say before I continue?
Don't have to worry about it.
So we're going to pretend that the image of Pale Night is appearing in the void in front of you guys and not behind all the structures, as Elaine recreates the approximation of the image that she has of the creature. This, correct?
Oh yeah, her.
That.
She
Oh
was
wait,
mean.
damn it. Well, I know what I'm gonna say. Just waiting on Ven. All right, back to it. Elaine waves her hand, and I think the last thing Ellie said was, "Oh yeah, she was mean, right?"
Yep.
Ellie, I know you have no way of knowing, but that she is Pale Night, or her ubiquitously known, well, to the few that do know her, would address her as Mother of Demons, one of the last existing Oberons, and might well possibly be the oldest currently living creature within the Abyss, if not the multiverse itself. Even with the sources that I have, I don't know much about her, but one thing is true, and most certainly applies to me. She is feared by all that know of her, and know of what she can do. Even other demons and other demon lords.
Wait,
This
so you don't know
thing-
what she's like after?
No, nobody does. That's the problem with what she is. She is an unimaginably powerful creature. I was not exaggerating when I spoke to you all and told you you would have been better off committing sacrilege at the temple of every evil god in existence before having caught the sight of this thing. This thing is incomprehensible. It is a manifestation of evil that should not exist. And it has set its sight upon at least half of this party at this point. I'm certain the only reason why the others weren't caught in its wake is because they weren't with you at the time. And I don't understand why. And you all should be much more terrified than you think you should be. This thing offered you a deal. A demon lord of the abyss offered you a deal. And thankfully, none of you outrightly accepted. But bad enough that you have its attention. And it's very, very obvious that it's keeping tabs on you. I've told you for the past 4 weeks since you've all been gone, Vargils has been under constant siege by a barrage of creatures. Half of those that you just saw were demons I'm certain were sent by her. For what purpose, I don't know, past destruction. Hell, it could just be nothing more than destruction, and she wouldn't care. Look, I brought you here to tell you everything that I know and answer any questions that you might have had that I could not say on the open. As I told you before, simply speaking of her name gives her power in a place. And despite the fact that she has no power here, she's still able to influence Firejolt, a place with 1,000,001 arcane warnings that I don't even need to upkeep, and invade with her own demons. The only reason why we're talking now here is because it is the singular most secure spot that I can have access to. Created by some crazy sorceress all those years ago because she had some grudge with the god and hid a relic of his here. And now it's been repurposed to keep all outside interference away. So again, I tell you, ask what you may ask. I will do my best to answer any questions you may have about the predicament you find yourself in.
So what makes you think it's interested in us?
She looks over to Cinder and says, "Not you specifically. Them." Signaling to, well,
Sounds good.
Trevor, Aurelia, and Ellie are all standing together, but I'm mainly talking to Ellie and Aurelia, because Trevor was kind of chamusqueado. He was nearly turned to charcoal because of something that has to do with the symbiote. Whereas these two not only didn't die upon coming into contact with this thing, even showed it disrespect and are still here living and breathing. I didn't say anything at the time, but like, legitimately, that one was the first time your characters probably would have just been destroyed. I'm like, these guys literally don't know any better.
It's fine.
They literally don't know any better.
It's fine. You're just mean.
And that's the problem, Cinder. Also, Kat, I know what Ellie is, but this is not something Ellie should be like, oh yeah, no, this is fine. Like, but whatever. It's your character.
Literally, I'm fine. This is fine.
Everything will be okay.
So, before you can ask anything, what did it offer you two? Aurelia, I know you and I will not and will never get along, but I have to know, what did it offer you?
Oh, almighty, all-knowing person of the multiverse. Figure it out yourself.
Stop being mean. Just tell me what it was.
He knows what it was.
She grits her teeth. She's trying to be patient. She knows that you don't know the crap you're in. And even if she hates you, even if she would want you dead, whatever fate would be in store for you should Pale Knight get her hands upon you is worse than anything even scum like you deserves. So she asks once more, I'm calling a truce I don't know, and that's why I'm asking. Believe it or not, I'm trying to help.
Wow, you don't know? Okay. As you can see, my arms Aurelia like pulls up like their shirt, like, yeah, that's just bones. Oh, my leg here. It's like being an ass about like, oh, what would I want?
Alright, you've made your point. What did she tell you to do for her?
Kind of hard to hear over Trevor screaming in agony. It's a little bit more enticed to listen to that. Ellie, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, it was something about, well, actually, hang on. All I remember was that she was really upset at Trevor for whatever it was that Trevor had on him. And I had to try to convince her to let him live because she really hated the power he had. And I kind of like spilled some bullshit at her about using that power that she really hates against the power that she really hates. So yeah.
For the first time, Elaine's like stressed out expression breaks for a second, and she smiles at you. Clever. Good job. You probably saved him from, well, suffering that for all eternity. She might have said that she was trying to destroy him, but I don't think she would have cared one way or another if he burned like that for the rest of eternity. Much like that one over there, she likely would have relished his screams. So she looks at Ellie. You did good. But she asks again. Then, what did she offer you?
Ellie's gonna like zone out, thinking she answered, but she never does.
Elaine like kind of like grabs Ellie by one shoulder and like shakes her like, Ellie,
Huh?
you zoned out for a second there, and like
Oh.
Ellie turns to look at her for a second, and Elaine winces and notices something on your shoulder. Her expression doesn't change, but she changes the line of questioning. As she then asks you, actually, I think there's a more pressing matter at the moment. We have all the time in the world. So you need to tell me, what did you mean you saw a boar talking to you?
Okay. Well, when we came back from wherever you threw me and Aurelia, and then the things were there, right? And you ran off to go deal with some of it on the other side, I guess. I think I got shish kebabbed and maybe passed out. And I was back at this one place that looked familiar. And I think after finding out her name, what was it? Ysolde or something?
Elaine says, mental note to talk about that later, but she lets you continue.
And I see her after, we had to kill her, but I see her there, and I was going up to hug her, and I couldn't move, and this weird ass boar just popped up, and it was strangely talking to me, but not talking to me, and it was telling me something about, fuck, what was it?
It was promising you stuff.
No, I know. This is like Ellie's words.
Oh, okay. Because that sounded so much like how you talk. I actually believe that.
I know, right?
Alright, go ahead.
And it was weird. It was like saying something about it's gonna give me power, but then it wouldn't really like answer any of my questions. And then some more weird bony looking things came up. Then it asked, like, it strangely asked the question again. And I kept trying to ask it questions. And I think I accepted.
He stays quiet for a second, contemplating what the next best question would be to get to the information she's hoping is wrong. Was this boar just a boar?
No, it kind of looked like you.
God damn it, stop.
Ignoring that.
Wait, you were there?
She was like,
If you were there, why didn't you help me? What the heck?
I wasn't. I don't know what we're talking about, but I just saw the opportunity.
Stop
had the
being mean.
opportunity to throw you into the... No, never mind. Please. Ellie, it's important. You have to remember. Was it just a boar? That'll be weird enough, but it'll be a better answer than anything else.
I mean, it looked like a boar, and then I think it got up on its legs. On its back legs.
Please.
And then a weird face popped up.
She's like, the answers are getting worse and worse and worse. As she said, please tell me that it did not have a staff with a skull on the end of it.
Actually, it did. You know what? It looked eerily similar as that one thing that killed me when I first showed up here. With the
Coffin?
Yes, that. Why was that? Is that a bad thing?
Elaine.exe has stopped working, as an abyssal situation somehow got worse. As now she says, I need a second. And a book appears in her hand. It didn't poof there. It didn't like warp in. It just suddenly, you blinked and you missed it. It's in her hands. As she shows it to you. All of you, actually. As it begins to start flipping through pages faster and faster. And it's flipping through all these pages. But it never seems to reach any further. Like you see dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of pages fly by. Until finally it settles on what looks to be 2 blank pages. Until they begin to write themselves. A horrible visage beginning to take the page. And she says, "This, correct?" And to everyone else who's leaning in, looking at it. Okay, hold on. Question. Does anyone here speak Abyssal? Or have Abyssal as one of their languages?
I do now.
I could learn it. Give me 2 minutes.
Okay, so that is only Cat. Okay, good. And Elaine doesn't say anything. Just leaves it out for you all to see. Says, she looks over to Aurelia and says, "I'm not a know-it-all, however much you may wish to believe that I think myself this greater higher being. I just have a lot of sources. This being one of them." And she says, "Ellie, can you read this book?" And like, does Ellie try to?
She's gonna squint at the book.
And at first, to her it looks like these letters are moving, animated, before they reorder herself in what language is she most comfortable in.
Goblin. Probably.
Do goblins even have a written language?
Mm-hmm.
Very scratchy English.
That's what I'm assuming. So, the words look like they're reshaping themselves, and they don't look like goblin. But when you read them, it feels like it. You have all the sensations of reading goblin, but like you can very visually see this isn't. And atop the portraits, what you see is the name Orcus.
The hell is an Orcus?
And she closes the book. One of the few other damned creatures within this multiverse that we have no chance against. How? Why? When could you have possibly caught the eye of Orcus? And you accepted a deal?
Well, I was trying to put some, like, conditions with it, but the motherfucker didn't let me.
Conditions on what? This hulking mass of demonic energy offers you something, and you didn't instantly say no? She, like, drops the book, which floats in the air instead of hitting the floor, and rattles Ellie. What is wrong with you? Do you have a death wish?
No.
Then why would you even contemplate saying yes? Do you know what sort of mess you've gotten yourself into? The rest of us, just for knowing you.
No?
Then read, Ellie. Please. No wisecracks, no jokes, just read.
Read the book that is currently floating?
Yes, she grabs the book and hands it to you, the page already having been opened to Orcus. Now, the question is, Uli, do you have access to the tongues spell?
I do not, but I do have the. I have the psionic dragon speak.
Which does...
Lets me talk to anybody mentally, as long as I know the same language as them. So if Ellie's reading it, and she's thinking out loud to herself, I can just listen to her.
that is actually what I was going to say. So, Elaine tells the party, you can try reading along, but unless the rest of you also somehow know Abyssal, I doubt this book will look like more than chicken scratch to you. As Ellie then goes on to read, and Aurelia essentially hijacks the signal, using their telepathic ability to listen in, as Ellie seems to fall into this trance as this horrific history plays out. Like, quite literally from nearly the beginning of time, before mortals themselves existed, a list of all the horrendous acts that have been committed by Orcus in the name of Orcus or in the service of Orcus are, well, essentially listed out to you as it describes his plane of the abyss to you, what he is, what it is that he represents across the multiverse, the perpetual evil that is him, his hatred towards all living things that aren't him. Just essentially imagine reading the worst manifesto that a human could conjure several dozens, if not hundreds of times worse and over. It's like, this is like bad. This is like legitimately bad that even an uncaring, callous piece of garbage like Aurelia is like actually starting to feel sick, and Ellie's not even like past the first couple of years of existence, and there's like millions of years from where she's reading to present day. As like somehow you did not think that it could get any worse. Like, this thing has thought, said, and done things worse than you could ever contemplate doing to your most hated anything. Like, hated friend, betrayer, enemy, whatever. Literally, the worst thing you can imagine has been done by this guy casually. He has done so many atrocities that even something both of you are categorized as some sort of evil, but you're feeling sick. You literally cannot keep reading any further before you start taking psychic damage.
Can Ellie keep reading though?
So you can, but this is alright. Actually, yeah, you can keep reading. You give me a wisdom save, and if Aurelia keeps listening, I need an intelligence save.
Dirty 20?
No. Like, literally, this is bad. Like, this is DC above 30 bad. As, like, Ellie's starting to feel sick. She's feeling disgusted. She's feeling terrified. It's slowly dawning upon her. Like, no joke. Like, this is DM intervention. I'm telling you what Ellie is feeling. It doesn't matter what you say. Ellie is feeling like, this is bad. She's, like, shivering in her skin. She's not even 1% of 1% done reading about this thing, and she's skipping forward in pages and pages, and it just does not end. She literally grabs all the pages in the book, keeps going, and she's still on the first part of Orcus's story, and there's still infinitely more. And, like, you understand deeply, fundamentally, what it is you did, the kind of mistake that you've made, and you piggyback on this with a combination of your failed intelligence save and your affection to Ellie. You feel something new, something that you have not felt. You feel pity that Ellie has not only caught the eye of Orcus, but was conned into making a deal with it. Like, you legitimately pity Ellie for the fact that she's probably damned herself to a fate worse than anything you could do in a million years to her. As Ellie seems like she's about to pass out, and Aurelia's acting tough, doing the best that they can to keep standing, as Elaine takes the book and says,
Man, I was still reading. No.
No, DM intervention, you are foaming from the mouth, essentially. Your ass is not talking. You got the equivalent of radiation sickness in your brain from reading that.
Dang.
And Elaine says, and if you ask me, Pale Knight is even worse. You didn't accept a deal from her, but she has her eye on you. And now, by extension, she has her eyes on Firejolt. So, Ellie, you need to tell me, what were you supposed to gain from accepting what Orcus told you?
Something about help and power? In exchange for a favor? That I so don't know what it is because the motherfucker refused to let me talk to Ask.
That doesn't sound good.
It is not. And I think about it, it sounds pretty bad. Yeah.
Maybe
Elaine
there's
stays
a way out of this.
Elaine stays silent for just a bit as she turns around and flips through the book herself and says, and those things that helped us here, I'm assuming those were part of your deal, your favor, as it were?
I think so.
And she speaks to herself in this moment, not caring whether I hear her. What could be his goal? What would he be after? That which hates all things, the Bloodlord, who hates all life, protecting it. What horrors could he ask of Ellie
Like,
to
Ellie's gonna try
convince
to.
it to protect?
Ellie's gonna try to intervene. Right? Like, he could have the same goal as what's her face? Because she really hates. It was something specifically about the power that Trevor was carrying, which is why he was constantly being burned. Because she was trying to purge it. But the thingy just kept healing Trevor. And so
Contemplates that. And the thought is horrific to her because two demon lords of their magnitude allying forces is legitimately a reality ending thing. One of them is bad enough, but two of them, and she's like, no, thankfully for all of us, I can't believe that's it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have worked against her.
So
Orcus
who
is
is this
arrogant.
victim that was burnt?
Trevor,
Trevor.
the guy who's calling himself Batman.
Oh.
For certain reasons, Pale Knight hates, well, not him specifically, but the thing that's giving him a lot of its power, his symbiote. And, well, she does kind of somewhat similar to what she did before to make Pale Knight appear, and she kind of replays her memory in the background. And all Cinder sees, because Cinder was here, but she wasn't exactly close to the action, is Trevor crashing through, well, metaphorically crashing through the ceiling, and essentially being a burning mess of mutating flesh that's regenerating and healing at the same time. The bones being exposed by this searing light, while at the same time regenerating, just putting him in an infinite loop of pain. While Color's character and Elaine kept pumping him full of healing magic in hopes of out-healing the fire so that it wouldn't kill him. And after playing that memory, she says, and it's disgusting to say these sentences within one that mentions her, but I'm sure she considered that a kindness, as the echoes of his screams still rattle around in your head. And she looks at Ellie, and she says something that she's not sure she wants to, but she feels it's the best option to make. I don't think you should leave this place.
what do you mean by that?
I mean, this might very well be the only place in all places where he, referring to Orcus, cannot reach you. This may be the only place where your favor is not cashed upon, and you may live out the rest of your days without eternal suffering.
But how am I supposed to help the party and find my parents and adventure?
Ellie, you've read the book. You know what you've made a deal with. I don't think those are your concerns anymore.
If they're as powerful as you say, there's nothing that she can do to stay away from them, so she may as well still continue her journey. Because if they wanted her, they'd take her when they want.
That's the thing, Cinder. This is maybe the only place where they can't do exactly that. The only place she'd ever be safe again. The words hang in the air as Elaine's recommendation is there, Cinder's arguments, and then, well, Elaine's rebuttal, but she doesn't want to continue this. Like, it's a terrible thought. Ellie's best option may legitimately be to live out the rest of her life here for a deal she didn't even want to make, and it's horrid. And at this point, nobody's sure if Elaine's telling her to or asking her to.
Sounds like a bad idea to me.
It also sounds like a terrible idea to go out there and have.
She was already
workers-
out there. Couldn't she have died then as well? So maybe there's still a purpose for her to keep her alive.
I'm not worried that they'll kill her. I'm worried that they'll collect on their end of the deal. Death would be a mercy. But that's the thing with demon lords. It doesn't end at death. They're more powerful than any god you can imagine, and more evil than any good that you can find. And I can't let her willingly go out there where they can reach her, where their influence can take her away in a blink of an eye, and I'd be powerless to stop it.
Wouldn't
So-
it be her call?
And with her saying that, she looks at Ellie. Is it your call, Ellie?
So you're saying, even if I had one of you guys kill me and revive me, the favor wouldn't go away?
No, Ellie. I don't know if there's anything that could make this go away. I don't know if there's anything strong enough to break this favor. And the worst part is that he gave you something for, at the moment, nothing. You are in his debt. And we don't know what it is that he's going to want, what it is that he's going to collect. And that should terrify you a lot more than it very clearly isn't at this moment.
I think I need time to think.
And then spend that time in here. Here, where they can't reach you. I promise you that. As for the rest of you, mainly looking at Aurelia, because Adavia's out there, but she's got Sylvian to watch her back. And Elaine has a suspicion that she hasn't spoken out loud, but looking to Aurelia, and said, and while you say you didn't take the deal, or, well, actually I don't remember if you said you did or didn't, but I don't know if you'd clarify that at this point. Something as bad, if not worse, has set its eyes upon you as well. And for the first time, she shows not hatred, not neutrality, compassion. What do you want to do? Ule?
He did.
Hold on. Aurelia's recoiling, like, still from, like, the bug thing, and they're, like, still out of it. They're, like... They were just, like, mentally gone for a moment. What are we doing?
I'm asking, are you going to stay in here with Ellie as you consider your options? Or will you return out there into the danger that is this place, or that is basically anywhere but here.
Hmm. I'm gonna look at Ellie and just be like, I guess I'll stay here.
All right then. So for here, I'm leaving the air open, both in character and out of character. Any like questions or clarifications you need, because I understand this would be very much confusing. So if you need an out of character explanation, so I can get more into it, ask. If you want to ask something in character, ask. As Elaine is like all cards on the table. Anything you ask, she will likely answer.
Ellie's gonna ask Elaine if there's any way. Well, basically, yeah. So, is there any way for me to be able to contact these guys if I decide to stay in here to try to help them?
As in the rest of the party?
Yes.
She looks a little frustrated, but she's showing understanding, or trying her best to show understanding, because she herself is probably more terrified than any of you, because she has the full understanding, or at least as much as she could get, because she herself cannot read much of this book. Like, she may have read bits and pieces of it here and there, but it's bad. Like, she seriously cannot stomach it, both spiritually or physically. She says, "No, Ellie, that is the express purpose of this place. It is a dead zone for all intents and purposes. Nothing in, nothing out. You may as well consider yourself in a different reality from the one you know while in here. And that is why I can assure you, it is likely the only safe place that you will ever see again." And she seems to have come to an internal decision. Look, I know what I'm asking of you is a lot. Of anyone, I'm not sure I'd be able to stick with this deal. But I'm assuring you safety and a life aside from suffering as much as I can manage if you were to stay here. But I know that's a cruel fate, a horrible fate no one deserves. So, if you want to walk back out there and test your luck as you may, I will not stop you. I would want to, but I will not. It's not my place. Not as the keeper of Firejolt, but as your friend.
Wait, I thought you hated her.
No, she hates Aurelia. And Aurelia hates her just as much. She likes Ellie.
Ellie's too much of an
Well,
idiot to
basically.
hate.
She likes everyone that isn't Aurelia, essentially. Mainly because, well, no, actually, I was going to say mainly because Aurelia hates her, but no, she hates Aurelia because they killed Cassius and are just, like, irrevocably evil.
Who's Cassius?
Uli's previous character. The one who, essentially the body that this character is piloting.
What? The body this character is piloting?
Yep. Trippy shit.
Long and short of it, his previous character, Cassius, found a cursed necklace, which was housing the soul of Aurelia, or at least a piece of that soul. The curse eventually killed Cassius, which allowed Aurelia's soul to fill the vacancy. And, like, that's what's going on there. Do you understand that, or no? Spyro?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe I was saying, like, choice is yours, easy way, hard way, all that. So that again, this one's mainly directed towards you two because you're the ones who somehow have caught the eye of a demon lord. One of you has caught the eye of two.
And you are popular.
Like,
This is the
like
worst
this
kind
is
of popularity you
something
could ask
cool.
for. Also, I'm going to do this as a DM just to remind Ellie of everything as she contemplates her words. Now the idea of what Orcus is more fresh within your mind as you understand what exactly was happening. I'll repeat to you what was offered in the favor. As, let's see here. Where is it? That is not what I wanted. Promise. Okay, so it promises Ellie to help. It promises Ellie to give her the capability to leave this fighting that has injured her so. It promises Ellie that just like her, it will think of Firejolt and all of the pathetic life that can be found within. Too weak to even deserve to live, simply on the merit that they aren't it. It promises her that it will no longer target a name that has given itself over to another. Though now, the other, which was an incomprehensible name before, is Pale Knight. It promises her that it will save Ellie, her friends, those she cares about, and even the one who wears his brand yet has dealt with Pale Knight. It promises strength. It promises safety. It promises wealth. It promises fame. It promises information. It promises all of the eyes and limbs that she could ever collect. It promises her sister. And all Ellie has to do is accept. Not a gift. Not yet a gift. But a favor, which shall soon be collected. As those, its words, essentially, not exactly the contract, but what was told to her to accept, is played in her mind. The two things that are likely most prominent in her mind, well, one I know is most prominent for sure, is it says that it will soon be collected. The second, however, which you tell me whether or not Ellie would actually think about, is it promised her sister, which not only means that it knows of her sister, which Ellie herself didn't know until recently, but that it knows that there's something that's keeping her from her. It's like, I know Ellie would probably think of that one of being collected soon. Would Ellie care or put any thought towards it mentioning her sister?
She would have, but she doesn't let anyone know.
Alright. And Elaine, no longer awaiting your responses, just think about it and rest up. You're in pretty bad shape. All of you are. As she looks to all of you and, well, says the same. She's not ending the conversation, she's just saying, like, get comfortable. It was like she spawns a cot or something for each of you to just, like, rest. Basic water and rations. As, well, she's getting everyone comfortable. This could be a while. I was like, I'm imagining there's, like, realistically would be, like, a laundry list of questions. But otherwise, I say we end the session there and then catch everyone up whenever the next session is, and then everyone can ask their questions.